Hi, welcome. Enjoy the content, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
Ethan Monroe never imagined a party video would change his life forever. At 38, he'd built a solid career as an architect in Portland, Oregon, designing modern homes that blended sustainability with elegance. His wife, Lauren, was a corporate attorney at one of the city's most prestigious law firms, known for her relentless stance in negotiations and professional ambition. They'd met at a networking event 3 years earlier, and what began as casual conversation about urban design grew into frequent dinners, weekend getaways, and eventually a marriage proposal at a winery in the Willamette Valley. Their wedding had been flawless, a botanical garden ceremony with 200 guests, white flowers on every table, and handwritten vows that brought half the attendees to tears. 5 months later, Ethan still caught himself glancing at the gold band on his finger and smiling to himself, marveling at how lucky he was. It was an ordinary Thursday when Connor, Ethan's younger brother, sent a message to the family group chat. At 26, Connor worked as a freelance video editor and was always obsessively organizing his digital files. The message read, "Found some old videos. Check out how hilarious Lauren's bachelorette party was, haha." Attached was a 32-minute video file. Ethan was at the office, reviewing blueprints for a residential project in Lake Oswego, when the notification popped up. Lauren was in a client meeting and wouldn't be back until late afternoon. He clicked on the video, expecting to see his wife and her friends playing typical bachelorette games, maybe awkward dares or emotional toasts. The video started exactly as he expected. Lauren was in a rented hall in northwest Portland, decorated with pink gold balloons and sparkly banners. She wore a ridiculous tiara that read "Bride-to-be" and a short white dress. Her friends cheered, laughed, and filled champagne flutes. Ethan recognized most of them: Jenna, Lauren's best friend since college, Madison, a colleague from the law firm, and 5 other women he'd met at the wedding. The camera, held by one of the friends, captured chaotic but innocent moments. Lauren played an embarrassing question game, then danced to early 2000s pop songs. Ethan chuckled to himself, taking a sip of cold coffee as he watched. At the 12-minute mark, the atmosphere shifted. The music grew louder, and then a man appeared in the video, tall, dark-haired, muscular, wearing black dress pants and a tight white shirt. Ethan assumed he was a waiter or venue staff. But the friends started shouting and pushing Lauren toward him. A caption on screen, added by whoever edited the original footage, read, "Surprise." It was a stripper. Ethan rolled his eyes but kept watching, expecting to see Lauren awkwardly refuse any interaction. Instead, what he saw made his stomach tighten. Lauren didn't just accept the dance. She grabbed the man by his tie, sat in a chair at the center of the circle of friends, and let him move provocatively against her. Her friends shouted encouragement. The camera wobbled as the person filming laughed uncontrollably. Ethan pressed his lips together but tried to rationalize it. It was a bachelorette party. These things happened. It didn't mean anything. But then, at 13 minutes and 40 seconds, Lauren stood up, cupped the stripper's face in both hands, and kissed him. It wasn't a quick or playful peck. It was a deep, prolonged, tongue-filled kiss that lasted at least 15 seconds while her friends erupted in hysterical screams. Ethan paused the video. His hands trembled slightly. He looked around the empty office, as if needing to confirm he was really watching this alone. He took a deep breath and kept going. The kiss ended, and Lauren, cheeks flushed and wearing a smile Ethan recognized from intimate moments between them, said something inaudible to the stripper. He nodded. Then, at the 14-minute mark, Lauren grabbed the man's hand and pulled him toward the back of the venue, out of the camera's view. The friend filming shouted, "Look at that, the bride can't handle it anymore," and everyone laughed. The camera stayed focused on the party. Jenna, the best friend, yelled, "The bride's enjoying her last night of freedom, y'all." More laughter. More champagne being poured. Ethan fast-forwarded. 14 minutes. 15. 17. 20. Lauren didn't reappear. The camera occasionally panned to the back door, but it remained closed. Her friends danced, took photos, and some began visibly getting drunk. At the 29-minute mark, the door finally opened. Lauren stepped out. Ethan paused again and zoomed in on his phone screen. Lauren's white dress was slightly wrinkled on the left side. Her vibrant red lipstick, perfect at the start of the video, was completely smudged. Her hair, once styled in an elegant bun, now had loose strands falling over her shoulders. She smiled, but seemed slightly disoriented. The stripper emerged seconds later, adjusting his shirt. No one made explicit comments, but Madison shouted, 15 minutes? Girl, spill everything. Lauren just laughed and grabbed a champagne flute, quickly changing the subject. Ethan closed the video. He checked the file's date, sent by Jenna to the group 3 days before the wedding. 3 days before Lauren walked down the aisle and vowed eternal fidelity. A wave of heat rushed up his neck, followed by a sharp chill. He tried to find rational explanations. Maybe she'd just talked to the guy. Maybe she'd felt sick and he helped her. Maybe the video didn't show the full picture. But 15 minutes? The wrinkled dress? The smudged lipstick? Ethan had known Lauren for 3 years. She was meticulous about her appearance. She'd never leave a restroom with smudged lipstick without fixing it. He couldn't work for the rest of the day. He stared at the blueprints on his computer screen but couldn't process a single line or measurement. At 5:20 p.m., Lauren came home. Ethan sat in the living room, holding his phone. Lauren walked in smiling, dropped her leather briefcase on the sofa, and asked how his day had been. Ethan didn't respond. He simply held out his phone, paused on the kissing scene. Lauren frowned, took the phone, and looked at the screen. Her expression changed instantly. The smile vanished. The color drained from her cheeks. Ethan, I can explain, she started, but her voice came out weak. He crossed his arms. Please, explain. Explain why you kissed a stripper 3 days before marrying me. Explain where you disappeared with him for 15 minutes. Lauren slowly sat on the sofa, still holding the phone. She didn't look at Ethan. It was just a kiss, Ethan. I was drunk. It was stupid, I know, but it didn't mean anything. The girls were all going crazy, pressuring me, and I just got carried away. It was a mistake. Ethan took a step forward. And the 15 minutes you vanished with him? You came back with your dress wrinkled and no lipstick. What happened, Lauren? She looked up, and Ethan saw something he'd never seen before, pure panic. We just talked. I felt sick from the drinks, and he helped me get to the back restroom. We talked while I recovered. That's all. Ethan took the phone back. You felt sick but came back smiling? Felt sick but kept drinking champagne afterward? Lauren, don't underestimate me. She started crying, real tears, shoulders shaking. Ethan, please. It was a mistake. It meant nothing. I love you. I've always loved you. It was just pre-wedding nerves, a stupid crisis I had. Please, believe me. Ethan stayed silent for a long moment. Part of him wanted to believe. Part of him wanted to hug her and forget it all. But something in her story didn't add up. Something in her reaction seemed too calculated. I need space, he finally said. I'll sleep at the office tonight. Lauren jumped up. No, Ethan, please, don't do this. We can talk. We can fix this. He was already grabbing his car keys. We'll talk tomorrow. He left without looking back. That night, lying on the cramped sofa in the shared office he rented with 2 colleagues, Ethan couldn't sleep. He rewatched the video 5 more times. Each viewing revealed new details: the intimacy of the kiss, the way Lauren touched the stripper's face, how casually she pulled him to the back room. It didn't look like nervousness. It looked like intent. On Friday morning, Ethan made a decision. He called a private investigator a fellow architect had used during a messy divorce. The man, a former cop named Greg Bowman, answered on the second ring. Ethan explained the situation directly, without sugarcoating. Greg listened in silence and said, "I can get basic info in 48 hours. If you want deep details, it'll take a week." Ethan replied, "I want everything. Who he is, where he works, whether there's been contact since that night." Greg moved quickly. By Monday morning, he called Ethan. Found the guy. His name's Kevin Ruiz, 29, works as a stripper and personal trainer around Portland. The company that booked him for the bachelorette party is called Platinum Nights Entertainment. I spoke discreetly with the owner. He confirmed Kevin works for them and has a reputation for being, let's say, very popular with clients. I can't legally give you private message or communication details, but I suggest you check your wife's phone if you get the chance. Ethan thanked him and hung up. That night, while Lauren showered, he grabbed her phone from the nightstand where it was charging. She'd never hidden her passcode from him. He opened her messages and searched. It didn't take long. There it was: Kevin flexed biceps. The conversation started 3 weeks before the bachelorette party. Lauren had reached out via his Instagram, asking for personal training info. He'd replied with obvious interest. Over the next few days, the messages grew increasingly intimate. She openly flirted. He reciprocated. Then Ethan saw something that turned his stomach: recent messages. 2 lengthy exchanges after the wedding. Ethan scrolled through the thread, hands shaking. After the wedding, he murmured to himself. The first post-wedding exchange was from 3 weeks ago. Lauren had written, "I'm bored. Are you free today?" Kevin replied with an address, a motel in southeast Portland. She confirmed, "I'll be there at 3 p.m. The second conversation was from 10 days ago. Same pattern. She initiated contact, he suggested a place, she confirmed she'd come. Ethan kept digging. He found photos, selfies Lauren had sent to Kevin. Some were clearly taken in rooms Ethan recognized as motel interiors. Others were more explicit, showing her in lingerie. The dates matched the message timestamps. Ethan heard the shower stop. He quickly took screenshots and sent them to his own phone, erased the sending history, and returned her phone exactly where it had been. When Lauren stepped out of the bathroom, he was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. She smiled and mentioned her long day. Ethan mumbled a vague reply. He spent the rest of the night in silence, mentally replaying everything he'd uncovered. The next day, he called Greg again and shared the evidence. The investigator paused and said, "That's all you need. With those messages and the video, you've got a solid divorce case." Ethan spent the rest of the day in shock. When he got home that evening, Lauren was cooking dinner, trying to act like everything was normal. She gave him a nervous smile as he walked in. "I made your favorite. Thought we could talk calmly." Ethan dropped his briefcase on the kitchen table and crossed his arms. "Lauren, I saw the messages on your phone." Her smile froze. "What?" He went on, each word sharp. "I know the stripper's name, Kevin Ruiz. I know you messaged him before the bachelorette party. I know you met him 3 weeks ago at a motel in southeast Portland. I know you met him again 10 days ago. And I have screenshots of everything. So, Lauren, now I want the truth." Lauren dropped the spoon she was holding. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Seconds passed. Then she started crying again, but this time, Ethan clearly saw it wasn't remorse. It was the panic of being caught. "Ethan, I didn't want you to find out like this. He stepped forward. You didn't want me to find out at all. How many times, Lauren? How many times did you sleep with him? She shrank into herself, trembling. 3 times. The bachelorette party and the 2 after. Ethan felt his blood boil. 3 times. You cheated 3 days before promising me eternal fidelity. Then you cheated twice while wearing the ring I gave you. Why? Lauren finally looked at him, and what Ethan saw in her eyes wasn't love or regret. It was something simpler and crueler, justification. Because I was scared, Ethan. Scared of getting married and never feeling that adrenaline, that excitement again. You're too perfect. Our life is too perfect. Everything's planned, organized, no surprises. Kevin was, just something different. Something that made me feel alive. Ethan laughed, a bitter, humorless sound. So you destroyed our marriage because you were bored? Because I'm too perfect? Lauren tried to approach him, but he stepped back. It wasn't just boredom. I love you, Ethan, but with him it was just sex. No commitment, no pressure. It was wrong, I know, but it didn't mean I don't love you. Ethan slowly shook his head. No, Lauren. You don't love me. People who love don't do this. People who love don't cheat 3 times and lie straight to your face. You love the life I gave you, the house, the status, the stability, but you don't love me. He picked up his briefcase again. I've already consulted a lawyer. The divorce papers are ready. You'll get them tomorrow. Lauren visibly panicked. Ethan, no. Please, we can go to therapy, we can rebuild this. I'll cut off all contact with him, I promise. I'll do anything. Ethan was already at the door. You had 3 chances to do the right thing. At the bachelorette party, when you could have stopped at the kiss. At the first motel meeting, when you could have blocked his number. At the second meeting, when you could have come clean to me. You didn't take any of those chances. So now I'm making mine. In the days that followed, Ethan discovered something unexpected. Lauren was pregnant. She told him during a desperate reconciliation attempt, showing up at his office with a positive pregnancy test in hand. Ethan, I'm pregnant. It's our baby. Our family. Please, think about this before going through with the divorce. Ethan looked at the test, felt a brief, irrational flicker of hope, and then crushed it. When did you find out? Lauren hesitated. Yesterday. Ethan did the math in his head. Lauren had menstruated 6 weeks ago. They'd had sex a few times since then, but she'd also met Kevin 3 weeks ago. I want a paternity test. Before any talk about this baby, I need to know for sure it's mine. Lauren went pale. You don't even trust me on this? Ethan stared at her coldly. You cheated on me 3 times and lied repeatedly. No, Lauren, I don't trust you about anything. The paternity test was scheduled for the following week, as soon as it could be safely done via fetal blood screening. Ethan spent those 7 days in emotional limbo. Part of him prayed the baby was his, at least something would be salvageable from this disaster. Another part knew, deep down, it wasn't. The results arrived on Friday. Ethan was alone in his office when the lab's email appeared on his screen. He opened the PDF. Probability of paternity, 0%. The baby wasn't his. It was Kevin's. Ethan read the line 3 times before it truly sank in. He called Lauren immediately. She answered with a hopeful voice. Well? Ethan was blunt. It's not mine. It's Kevin's. Dead silence on the other end. Then he heard a muffled sob. Ethan, he hung up. The next day, Ethan got an unexpected call. It was Diane, Lauren's mother. Diane was a stern 62-year-old former literature professor known for her strong opinions and lack of filter. "Ethan, Lauren told me everything. I want you to know I'm absolutely horrified. I raised my daughter better than this." Ethan didn't know what to say. Diane continued, her voice shaking with contained anger. "She's always been impulsive. Always made selfish choices. But this, cheating on you 3 times, getting pregnant by another man while married, that's unforgivable. I want you to know you have my full support. If you need testimony for the divorce, I'll testify." Ethan was stunned. "You'd testify against your own daughter?" Diane didn't hesitate. "I testify for the truth. Lauren made a grave mistake. You don't deserve to pay for it. And frankly, Ethan, you were the best thing that ever happened to her. She threw it all away." This unexpected support gave Ethan strength he didn't know he needed. The divorce moved swiftly. With the investigators' evidence, the messages, the photos, the paternity test, and even testimony from Lauren's own mother, Ethan's lawyer built a devastating case. Oregon allowed no-fault divorce, but the evidence ensured Lauren wouldn't receive alimony and that Ethan would keep most of the assets acquired during their brief marriage, including the house he'd bought 2 years before meeting her. The final twist came during one of the preliminary hearings. Kevin Ruiz was notified of the paternity claim by Lauren. He not only denied responsibility but blocked her on all social media and changed his phone number. When Lauren's lawyer tried contacting him about child support, they discovered Kevin had a history of 3 similar cases in other states. He was known for impregnating clients and disappearing. Lauren was alone. The hardest blow for Lauren came from her job. Her law firm included a moral conduct clause in partner contracts. When rumors of the scandal leaked through courthouse gossip, Lauren was called into a meeting with senior partners. They were direct: the firm's reputation couldn't be tied to a personal scandal of this magnitude. They offered her the choice to resign or be fired. Lauren resigned. 5 months after discovering the video, Ethan sat in a cafe in the Pearl District, waiting for his new girlfriend, Rachel, a landscape architect he'd met through a work project. Rachel was 3 years older, divorced, childless, and possessed a refreshing honesty Ethan had come to value above all else. As he waited, Lauren walked into the cafe. Ethan saw her before she saw him. She was visibly 7 months pregnant, wearing simple, cheap clothes that sharply contrasted with the designer suits she used to wear. Dark circles shadowed her eyes, and her hair was pulled into a messy ponytail. She ordered a basic coffee at the counter, clearly counting coins. When she turned around, her eyes met Ethan's. She froze. Ethan simply nodded, neutral, neither hostile nor friendly. Lauren slowly walked over to his table. "Hi, Ethan." He replied calmly, "Lauren." She looked down at her belly, then back at him. I wanted to apologize. For real. For what I did. You didn't deserve any of that." Ethan took a sip of coffee. "No, I didn't." An awkward silence followed. Lauren tried again. "Are you okay?" Ethan nodded. "Actually, I'm great." "And you?" Lauren gave a tired, sad smile. "Just surviving. Working at a small office, making a third of what I used to." Kevin vanished completely. "My parents help financially, but barely speak to me. Most of my friends cut me off. Jenna's the only one who stuck around, but even she keeps her distance." Ethan listened without showing emotion. Lauren's voice cracked slightly as she went on. "I ruined everything, Ethan. I know that. I destroyed the best thing I had over, stupid adrenaline. I wanted you to know I regret it every day." Ethan set his cup down and looked her straight in the eyes. "Lauren, I believe you regret it. But you didn't regret it when you kissed Kevin at your bachelorette party. You didn't regret it when you went to that motel 3 weeks after marrying me. You didn't regret it when you went back 10 days before I found out everything. You only regretted it when you got caught. When you faced consequences. That's not true regret. It's just grief over what you lost. Lauren began silently crying. I loved you, Ethan. He raised a hand, cutting her off. No. You didn't love me. You loved what I represented, security, stability, status. But real love doesn't do what you did. Rachel walked into the cafe right then, saw Ethan, and waved with a warm smile. Ethan smiled back and stood up. He looked at Lauren one last time. I genuinely wish you luck with the baby. But you and I have nothing left to say to each other. Take care. He walked away and met Rachel at the door. She whispered, everything okay, as they left. Ethan glanced back quickly and saw Lauren sitting alone, crying into the table. He turned to Rachel and answered honestly, everything's perfectly fine. 2 months later, Ethan heard through mutual acquaintances that Lauren had given birth to a boy and was struggling financially and emotionally as a single mother. Kevin never showed up and was being sued for child support, a case that would likely amount to nothing since he kept moving between states. Lauren's mother offered minimal help, and their relationship remained distant. Jenna, the best friend who knew everything and never told Ethan, also faced consequences when others discovered her complicity. She lost credibility in her social circle. Ethan, meanwhile, was genuinely happy. 7 months had passed since Connor sent that video. He and Rachel had been living together for 3 months in a renovated loft he'd designed himself. He no longer thought about Lauren daily. Sometimes entire weeks went by without her crossing his mind. When she did, he didn't feel anger, just something closer to pity mixed with indifference. She'd made her choices. He'd made his. And for the first time in a long while, Ethan Monroe was in a relationship where trust wasn't a question, it was a guarantee. And that, he realized, was worth infinitely more than any fleeting thrill Lauren had chased. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates. See you next time.